I want to see Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua next, or Jake Paul versus Deontay Wilder, because I think he's technically heavier than Wilder right now. So I think that's a great matchup. I think that's a beautiful fight for his future. I would pay for that. It's just true. But when you're that damn old, there are so many things that can go wrong. What happens when a man that old trains as hard as a 20-year-old? The body can't hold up. There's a lot to talk about. Now let's see how much I can cover. For one, a lot of people feeling and saying that this was rigged before the fight are going to get a lot of validation from the way that this turned out. I'll tell you what's not going to get validation: Netflix's weak ass servers. But did this have to be scripted or rigged for it to turn out this way? No, I do think there was some improv along the way. But if you look at those first few rounds, it was serious, and we're going to talk about that. But two things were responsible for the way this fight turned out. One, Mike had one leg. it was bad too. Apparently his swelling was like, I don't know what the hell happened to his leg. Well, father time, that's what everyone kept saying. Now father time, we were worried about the chin and the cardio, but it caught up in other ways, and we're gonna talk about that too. And for two, Jake, for a couple of different reasons, did not want to go for the kill after a certain period of time. At first, yeah, Jake was trying to hurt Mike, and if you look at the shots he was hitting Mike with, he was absolutely trying to hurt him at first. Now, why is Mike being on one leg significant, considering that Jake Paul did mostly whatever he wanted late as the fight got a little bit longer? Well, because there's a most there. Looking at this fight and seeing Mike's defense at times, his counters at times, he's a mutant senior citizen. So but the thing is, Mike, in terms of skill, in terms of technique, in terms of everything that matters other than even a lot of physical stuff, he's just a far better boxer, athlete, fighter, and human than Jake. But now, to be clear, when Mike was standing straight up on that leg, he got caught with some big shots that dropped everyone else before. I mean, think about who Jake Paul was knocking down all these way younger, more healthy fighters, and he blasted Mike with some big ass shots. Like there was an uppercut. I'm like, how the hell did this old man eat that? So Jake at times was trying to knock him out. He launched a nasty uppercut. And for example, when Jake wants to knock someone out, he starts tagging the body, he starts going with the jab to the body, he starts throwing across to the body so he can set up the overhand. The overhand is the shot that he loves the most because he get to wind up and come over top. And he landed at least one or two of those. Yeah, at least like maybe two or three. And so he was really trying to hurt Mike at times. After a while, when Mike was like frozen in place, I think he's like, okay, maybe I don't want to finish Mike. Yeah, Mike walked into a crazy uppercut at one point, but this is one of the reasons people won't want to admit why Jake didn't finish him. The primary reason, obviously, is because Jake would have felt bad finishing not just a 60-year-old man, but a one-legged 60-year-old man. But the second one, people aren't gonna like this because it's gonna feel like cope, it's gonna feel like excuses. But if you look at when Jake starts opening up with combos in this fight, what happened every time? Tyson would respond in the middle of those combos, usually like with a left hook, but he would counter and he would touch Jake enough and Jake would slow down. So that power, like in the first round when he jumped up with the jab and Jake flew back, Mike is still dangerous, and that danger did play a part in making Jake slow down, especially when Jake really wanted to hurt him earlier on. Now, to be that old and to be dangerous enough, defensively sound enough, I don't know how the hell he was able to move his head so well at times, considering that this man had one, I don't know, but and tough enough too. So not just good enough in those ways, but tough enough not to get steamrolled. I think that's an achievement enough. And I think there were a lot of reasonable assumptions about Mike's capabilities. The power, the speed at times will pose issues, but most of the time, Mike wasn't able to get off anything because he was a sitting duck. He was just like standing there, biting his gloves, like putting in his mouthpiece. He did more mouthpiece and glove biting adjustments than he did punches. But let's be honest here. Would you still want to box a one-legged 58-year-old Mike Tyson? I wouldn't. No, the average human is not going to. The average adult male is not going to do well in that situation. He was literally handicapped, but despite that, he's still a one-legged Mike Tyson is still a kind of Mike Tyson, just a handicap version. But that's where Father Time comes in. I heard a lot of talk about Father Time. The chin and the cardio were scary to think about coming into this fight. And those were the primary reasons why when people pick Jake Paul, that's what they argued. And that's a fair argument. But what people didn't talk about, especially the people that picked Mike Tyson, which I'm one of those people, was what happens when a man that old trains as hard as a 20-year-old. The body can't hold up. And he came into this fight with one leg, and that's not an excuse, that's reality. And that's why you don't bet on the old horse. You don't just have to worry about the chin or the cardio. You have to worry about the body in general. An ulcer flare up that'll delay a fight, a sciatica that will have him in a wheelchair, his leg looking like his leg is like super swollen and all that. Now again, there were a lot of reasonable arguments for why Mike could beat Jake Paul. There were reasonable arguments, despite Mike being in the condition that he was in. We didn't know how bad that leg was, but regardless, being 58, picking a 58-year-old man to win a fight against a 27-year-old, that's not, something people do quite often, but a lot of people did it. And there were some reasons why. Combination speed is faster, at least with two legs, and at least for the first few minutes of the fight. Head movement better than Jake Paul. That's also true. Footwork better with two legs, of course. More power. These are things that are just true. But when you're that damn old, there are so many things that can go wrong. And we all knew that going into the fight, even the people that picked Mike Tyson. But the people that picked Tyson expected the gap in skills to be vast enough for the chin or the cardio not to catch up with him. The mistake we made, people who picked Tyson, is that those were the only things that we were worried about catching up to him. So much can go wrong, and enough of it did. Now, I want to see Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua next, or Jake Paul versus Deontay Wilder, because I think he's technically heavier than Wilder right now. So I think that's a great matchup. I think that's a beautiful fight for his future. I would pay for that. They could put up $100 pay-per-view. I would pay for that. And that's all. Yeah, I think Jake Paul versus Wilder, I think we need to make that happen. I will probably go on a rant a little bit more about this on the podcast in a few days from now, a week, who knows. Stick around for that. I'm gonna make some good content. I don't know what I'm gonna cover exactly. I may just jump into something new. That's it. I'm out.